think your noon exhaustion is a lack of willpower, but it is actually your ancient biology fighting back. If you want to understand how to fix your broken energy cycles, subscribe to this channel for more deep dives. Millions of people wake up early, drink a glass of lemon water, and meditate exactly as productivity gurus advise. Yet these same millions find themselves staring blankly at a computer screen just 5 or 6 short hours later. Global beverage sales data shows a massive, synchronized spike in energy drink purchases between 12 and 2. This is not a collective failure of personal discipline or a sudden, random dip in daily workplace motivation. The midday crash is a severe, systemic physiological collapse happening to an entire generation of working adults. We treat this daily exhaustion as a time management problem that can be solved with another cup of dark roast. But caffeine only masks the symptoms of a much deeper, invisible battle happening inside your nervous system. Why do standard morning routines consistently fail to prevent this massive, repeating wave of daily exhaustion? The answer begins with a genetic mechanism discovered by the scientists who won the 2017 Nobel Prize. They mapped the molecular loops that control circadian rhythms, proving our internal clocks are biologically fixed. This genetic predisposition divides all human populations into specific timing categories known as chronotypes. Evolutionary biology required some to be alert morning larks, while others naturally evolved as night owls. A diverse group needed overlapping shifts of wakefulness to maintain constant vigilance against nocturnal threats. But modern corporate society ignores this ancient diversity and forces everyone into an identical morning schedule. Nearly 75% of the global population does not naturally align with a strict early morning routine. This creates a condition scientists call chronotype friction, where your environment actively fights your genetics. Living out of phase with your biological clock is equivalent to forcing your body into a permanent state of jet lag. Your career progression and metabolic health both suffer simply because you are neurochemically living out of time. The traditional 9-to-5 workday caters exclusively to the extreme morning types who naturally peak at dawn. Everyone else spends the first half of their day fighting an uphill battle against their own biological programming. If our biological clocks are hardwired into our DNA, are evening types simply doomed to daily exhaustion forever? Can sheer determination and a strong mindset eventually override thousands of years of evolutionary programming? What exactly happens in your brain when you attempt to brute force your way through a mismatched daily schedule? Laboratory performance tests reveal exactly what happens when evening types are forced to take early morning exams. Their cognitive scores plummet, their reaction times slow down, and their working memory capacity drops significantly. These individuals are not suffering from traditional sleep debt, which happens when you simply get too few hours. They are suffering from chronotype misalignment, meaning they slept enough hours but at the wrong biological time. Society assumes that waking up at 5 in the morning automatically grants you superior productivity and focus. Data shows those productivity advantages only apply to the lucky 25% who are extreme morning types. When the remaining majority tries to copy this routine, they trigger a catastrophic decline in mental performance. Willpower cannot override genetics, because willpower itself relies on a well-rested prefrontal cortex to function. Forcing yourself awake before your biological sunrise depletes the exact brain resources you need to stay focused. You are essentially burning through your daily energy budget just to keep your eyes open during the morning commute. By the time 12 noon rolls around, your brain has completely exhausted its reserve of executive function fuel. We mistakenly label this biological surrender as laziness, when it is actually a measurable neurological deficit. Clinical studies consistently demonstrate that misaligned workers have much higher rates of systemic inflammation. You are physically eroding your long-term cognitive health every single time you fight your natural wake cycle. The damage goes far beyond feeling a little tired after lunch and reaching for another artificial energy boost. You are forcing a specialized biological machine to operate under conditions it was never designed to tolerate. The question remains, what specific neurochemical cascade is activated when we fight against our internal clock? How does the simple act of waking up at the wrong time translate into To truly understand the crash, we have to look closely at the invisible chemical war happening in your bloodstream. What single, invisible daily action is responsible for initiating this entire devastating neurochemical collapse? The moment you jolt awake against your natural rhythm, your body registers the sudden disruption as a physical threat. This initiates the cortisol awakening response, flooding your system with stress hormones to force you into action. Cortisol is meant to rise gradually with the dawn, but a jarring alarm triggers an unnatural, massive spike instead. Adrenaline follows immediately, giving you a temporary, artificial sense of sharp alertness during your first hour. You mistake this frantic stress response for genuine productivity, tackling complex emails and demanding projects. But this chemical cocktail comes with a steep price, because you interrupted the crucial sleep clearance process. While you sleep, the cognitive system clears out the primary molecule responsible for building up sleep pressure. Waking up too early leaves a significant amount of uncleared adenosine floating around in your neurological pathways. Your morning coffee temporarily blocks these adenosine receptors, making you feel completely awake and ready to work. However, the caffeine does not destroy the adenosine molecules. It simply prevents your brain from feeling them. The uncleared adenosine continues to accumulate in the background all morning while you burn through your cortisol. Around midday, your morning dose of caffeine finally wears off and releases its blockade on your neural receptors. A massive flood of accumulated adenosine slams into your nervous system all at once, creating an overwhelming crash. At this exact same moment, your artificial morning cortisol spike naturally plummets back down to baseline levels. You are hit with the double impact of peaking sleep pressure and rapidly depleting stress hormones simultaneously. That is exactly what it feels like. This is the precise neurochemical recipe for the noon exhaustion that leaves you completely drained and unfocused. Studies linking high morning cortisol to poor afternoon cognitive function prove this is a rigid biological rule. You are effectively stealing energy from your afternoon to fund an unnatural level of alertness in the early morning. So, if waking up early and drinking coffee is not the root of the problem, what is the actual invisible mistake? The alarm clock and the caffeine are just tools, but the real error is how you apply your brain immediately after. Okay, I understand the cascade of stress hormones and the inevitable adenosine crash that destroys my afternoon. But what is the specific, actionable biological error we are all committing before the workday even really starts? How do we stop this chemical avalanche from crushing our productivity and ruining our health every single afternoon? We have to stop viewing our daily energy as a flat line and start respecting our evolutionary specialized cycles. The true mistake happens in the very first hour of your day, and it has nothing to do with what time you wake up. The invisible biological error that drains your energy by noon is initiating high-value cognitive work immediately. You are forcing deep focus tasks without first identifying and respecting your neurochemical performance window. Most arrive at the workspace and immediately tackle their hardest, most complex analytical problems right away. If you are an evening chronotype, your prefrontal cortex is barely online and highly inefficient during this hour. You burn through massive amounts of glucose and willpower just to perform basic tasks that would be easy later on. This premature cognitive heavy lifting rapidly accelerates your adenosine buildup and depletes your daily reserves. The solution is not waking up later, but but radically shifting your task schedule to match your biological reality. You must protect your early morning by assigning only low cognitive load tasks, like basic sorting and organization. Save the intense analytical work and creative problem solving for your specific, personalized peak activity window. For many people, this window of optimal brain function naturally occurs in the late afternoon or early evening. By shifting the hardest tasks out of the early morning, you preserve your limited executive function for when it peaks. You stop fighting the evolutionary necessity of varied specialized survival schedules and start working with them. Your ancestors survived because the tribe had different peaks of vigilance, not because everyone woke up at dawn. When you align your cognitive load with your neurochemical rhythm, the devastating noon energy crash simply vanishes. You no longer need to rely on excessive caffeine or stress hormones to force your brain through a mismatched schedule. You reclaim your natural energy by acknowledging that your biology is a specialized tool, not a broken machine. True productivity is not about forcing yourself to fit the clock, but making your tasks fit your biological reality. The modern world wants you to believe that exhaustion is your fault, but you now have the blueprint to fight back. If you made it to this point, you now understand your biology better than most people ever will in their lifetimes. Make sure to subscribe to this channel right now because our next scientific investigation goes much, much deeper. Stop fighting your ancient chronotype, protect your morning neurochemistry, and take your daily energy back today.